Ago. Let's get started with our conversation this evening. And we go to one of those states where we get our story out of today, presented with another opportunity to raise the bar of democratic governance to global standards. Nigeria's political leadership instead has dug the country further into rot. For 6 months, governance has alternated between suspense, inactivity, and autopilot in Ondo State following the illness of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, who's been absent from duty at the state capital, Akure. The charade is nauseating as some of the state residents are demanding that the governor surrenders the reins of government to tend to his health. Meanwhile, President Tinubu's intervention has elevated the party's interest above public interest and global best practices in democracy. Their resolution asks the Ondo partisans to maintain status quo, retain the absentee governor, and stop impeachment moves against Aiyedatiwa, the deputy governor. The drama is another setback for Nigeria's democracy as Governor Akeredolu has been very ill for over a year. For some time, he relocated to Ibadan, Oyo State, from where he and his inner circle were allegedly running the affairs of Ondo State. Many are asking if the governor's exit now on account of his inability to lead is beneficial to the state, and what the current intrigues and administrative gridlock at this time mean for the state's economic, security, and social developments. Joining us this evening for this conversation are Kayode Ogundamisi, who is a commentator on Nigeria, global affairs, culture, and social issues, and Rahman Yusuf, also known as Ray of Hope, a multimedia journalist based in Ondo State. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me this evening on The Big Story. I hope that you can hear me. Mr. Ogundamisi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Good evening.
Good evening. Mr. Yusuf, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm happy to have you both with us here on The Big Story. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Ogundamisi. You know, from an outsider's perspective, I mean, you're a citizen. You're not, part of the political class in Ondo State. So, in that sense, you're an outsider. Just looking from the outside as a concerned citizen, as a Nigerian, what do you make of what has happened in Ondo States for the past 1 year, from the moment the governor left the country to Germany to tend to his health? Speaking of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu.
Thank you. I think it's not even going to be accurate looking at it from when he left for Germany. I think we've been seeing signs of this from when the governor was sworn in into his second term, and it's not been particularly stable in Ondo State. It's not actually. You wouldn't find him in Akure. Most time he's been in and out of Ondo, operating from Ibadan. But now, yeah, correctly, from May of this year, he left for Germany, and he's not set his foot in Ondo State. First, as an indigene of Ondo State, from Akoko in Ondo, I'm thoroughly embarrassed, particularly when you look at the antecedents of our governor, Arakunrin Akeredolu, senior advocate of Nigeria, former NBA president. So you would expect that he would know better. He was at the forefront of the campaign to get then President Yaradua to hand over to Goodluck Jonathan. And we were all together on the trenches thinking the constitution of the country must be respected. So clearly, he is not walking the talk in this situation. And the question is very clear. If Governor Akeredolu returns to Ondo State today, addresses the people of Ondo, and start working from within the territories of Ondo State, the issue is resolved. No one is saying they should impeach the governor. He just needs to either come into Ondo State and do his job, or the constitution is quite clear, hand over to the deputy governor to become the acting governor of the state. Because currently, no matter whatever you're being told, there is no governance, anything operating in Ondo State. members of the cabinet will claim that things are going on correctly, but you just need to visit Akure and all the nooks and crannies of the state to know that it's in a state of comatose. I know that there is no law currently in Ondo State that says the governor can work permanently from home. Civil servants do not work from home. They all report in office. So I don't see why the governor should have a special privilege to work from outside Ondo State. He needs to do the right thing. So back to your question, we are so embarrassed. This is a state that has produced the likes of Chief Kanefawemi, Adekunle Ajasi, and this is the state where their citizens will speak loudly when it concerns other states. Imagine if this were to be happening in Anambra or in Lagos State or in Katsina State. It's indigenous of Ondo State like us that will be so loud and out there on the streets. And I think it's a shame that it's happening now, and people who should know either keeping quiet or they are sort of justifying or rationalizing this. So morally it is wrong, and constitutionally it's a violation of our constitution.
Mr. Yusuf, we saw the president meet with members of, the governments in the state. We saw him in a picture with Deputy Governor Ayedatiwa, with Umar Ganduje, chairman of the APC. Is it clear, what solutions or what resolutions were reached when the when officials of the Ondo State government met with President Bola Tinubu?
I would say that meeting caused more confusion than we had before the meeting.
How so?
Because we heard there was a meeting held behind closed doors where certain issues were discussed, and they came out to meet others to read out the resolutions. And the first thing we heard was there was an extraction of commitment from the deputy governor that it will not dissolve the cabinet inaugurated by Governor Akeredolu. It will not change the leadership of the State House of Assembly. It will not change the leadership of the party in the state. And at the end of the day, they came back to tell us the deputy governor remains the deputy governor while the governor is the governor. And we begin to ask, does a deputy governor have the constitutional powers to dissolve a cabinet inaugurated by the governor? So when they came back from Abuja, the two teams, the two factions, let me use that word, were rejoicing. The deputy governor's faction were rejoicing that since commitment has been extracted that the deputy governor should not dissolve the cabinet, it means he will be declared acting governor. The faction loyal to the governor who do not want the deputy governor to become an acting governor were saying, okay, the deputy governor has been put in his place, he can no longer do anything, there is nothing he can do, this and that. But it was shocking when the Speaker of the House of Assembly at the plenary held on, was it on Friday now, said one of the things they did at the meeting with the president was to make the deputy governor sign an undated resignation letter. If anything done by Akeredolu, he will abide by the resolutions. And some of us begin to ask questions like, why will you say this guy should sign an undated resignation letter? Are some persons this desperate? Ordinarily, if the governor is not around, the deputy governor should act in his place till the governor is back, which is what the governor did when he was leaving for Germany, when he transmitted a letter to the State House of Assembly that he will not be around, the deputy governor should be in active capacity. And when people started saying, we've not been hearing from the governor, some persons were even going on social media to say the governor is dead. All of a sudden, overnight, people brought the governor back into the country. And the governor invited.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Yusuf. But you said something.
Okay.
You said something very important that I want us to drill down on. You said that the governor was given an undated, the deputy governor rather, was given an undated resignation letter. Who exactly gave him that undated resignation letter, and is it clear why they wanted him to sign one?
According to what the Speaker of the Chambers of Assembly said, he said the president made the deputy governor. No, the president requested for an undated resignation letter signed by the deputy governor. I've made calls to the legal counsel to the deputy governor, Bolu Adegoro SAN. I've sent in messages to ask if his client actually did that, because the deputy governor no longer had a spokesperson. The first action the governor did when he returned from Germany was to sack the media team of the deputy governor. So as we speak, nobody speaks for the deputy governor. And the deputy governor will tell you he cannot speak, is that. So I've reached out to his legal counsel. Did your client sign this? Let us be sure that he actually signed the letter. But as we speak, nobody has confirmed if he truly signed the letter.
Mr. Ongudamisi, just going by what Mr. Rahman says here, and just giving some of the other issues that, the deputy governor got dragged into, the impeachment, which, by the way, has now been dismissed by the court because, it was withdrawn. It appears that there is a target. There was a targeted, or there is a targeted attack at a constitutionally elected deputy governor, right? Who in many ways should have been supported to fill in the gaps left by Governor Akeredolu. Is this typical of politics here in the country? What do you make of, all the vitriol that's gone the deputy governor's way?
So when you have that saying that the chicken has come home to roost, if you recall, Mr. Akeredolu sacked the first deputy governor he had from Akoko before going for this. Sorry, I don't know if that guy is from Akoko actually. I think he's from Eseodo or thereabout. He sacked his deputy governor. This is the second deputy governor. So you would expect that when you are picking a running mate, you're picking someone that you have a confidence in to take over from you in case of things like this. Someone loyal to you and whatever you. So the fact that his Artus deputy governors that is unable to hand over power to you, particularly where it's clearly that he's incapacitated, question. There are two things here. Either he thought this new guy was going to, from what I heard, he's not a natural politician, was just going to sit down and take orders from the cabals within the cabinet, but it's called it wrong, So there's the politics side. And I try as much as possible to not go into the politics side, because a lot of what is happening has also got to do with the election that is coming up in less than 2 years in Ondo State. So there are members of the cabinet. Akeredolu is not going to have a third term, and the deputy governor becomes the acting governor. He would have access to resources. He will be acting as the governor, he's already has a springboard ahead of other candidates or aspirants within the cabinet. So there's that consciousness to just stop him from getting into that limelight. And with Akeredolu not being available, we don't know his thinking and what he's suffering from it. Then again,
hello, Mr. Kaida, are you there? It would appear that we've lost the connection with our guests this evening. We apologize for the disruption here, but we'll try to get them back on again in just a moment to continue with our conversation on the big story this evening. Mr.
Recording in progress.
Mr. Ogundamisi, all right, then we apologize for that, but we're back up now.
Yeah. So that part of the state has already been treated with disdain, like they are second-class citizens. They are not worthy of governing the state. And it is the expectation is that it's going to go. If you look at the zoning formula, it's going to go to that part of the state, and so the politicking is that just stop this guy by all means necessary. But let's look beyond that. Look, the Ondo State Executive Council has not met since August of 2023. That's the State Executive Council. Forget the charade that they displayed yesterday with the deputy governor just coming up with the cameras and going away. Ondo State has not been represented in Abuja in the Federal Executive Council too. The State Executive Council has not met. You can't find Ondo State in the National Security Council, in the Nigerian Governors Forum. We are completely outside of governance in the country. So if you stick to the issues here, the issues are that the governor has absconded from the state. A cabal within the cabinet are governing on behalf or in the name of the governor. They would go to Ibadan, they will come with a signature and say, the governor has said this, signed funds, out to projects. You saw in the budget when they said he has how many billions of naira on contingency, and when you ask them to account for the funds, they said it's for palliative. So there's a tendency that few people within that government are holding the state to ransom, and they are taking advantage of Akeredolu's ill health. And I say to people, look, anybody can fall ill. No one has the capacity to live forever. But you cannot hold the state to ransom because a man is ill. Now, let's look. If I'm looking here now, Section 189 of the Nigerian Constitution is very clear. It's very clear that the State House of Assembly needs to act in the absence of the governor to seek an independent medical personnel to just check if this guy is okay, if he has the capacity to continue. And it's not just get out and you're no longer the governor. It's while you're attending to your health, let another person move the state forward. And when you're healthy, you come back and you continue to govern the state. But the state of paralysis that almost 6 million indigents and residents of the state are being subjected to is unfair. Let me go back to the issue of the president of Nigeria requesting the governor of acting governor of Ondo State to sign undated resignation letter. If you look at President Tinubu's antecedents, you can't say that's not. You cannot claim that those are just rumors. Pastor Tunde Bakare, if you remember, during the first APC, then AC and CPC merger, said clearly that President, former Governor Tinubu approached him that he should sign an undated letter, that as soon as then they will merge with CPC. Once Buhari becomes president, then Bakare will step down as vice president of the country, and the ACN a new president. These are in the public domain. Tunde Bakare has said it several times, and now President Tinubu has never denied it. So this antecedents of signing undated letter as resignation letters, it's anti-democratic, but it's not new to our political system, and I think it should stop. And apart from that, we run a federal system in the country. Ondo State is not what's it called? It's not one of the family properties of the president. The president should not be determining what happens in the state. The issues are straight. The president, who has his antecedent of being a pro-democracy activist, should have told all those who came to him that, look, I've got no power in this. Go and respect the constitution of the country, of the land, and of your state, which says that in the absence of a governor who is obviously unavailable, let the deputy governor act. And look, if you are desperate, if you don't want the deputy governor, you know what they can do? They can go ahead and impeach the guy and put somebody there, but let us move forward. We don't want to get involved in their politics, because when things were going all right for them and they were all enjoying the trappings of office, no one called us to say this is what is happening. So no one's, so now that things have gone, so we're just saying, look, even if it's cat, dog eat dog, respect the constitution of the country.
Right. Look, Mr. Yusuf, we're in very, interesting times. I remember I had a conversation with the spokesperson of the PDP in the States, Kennedy Perete. He was on this same program, and he spoke to the issues there on those states. Recently, in a message that I received from him, he was saying that there was an inauguration of local government chairmen in Ondo states that he described as illegal, and said that they were to meet somewhere, right? He said he alleged that the local government chairmen who were to be inaugurated were invited to the Cocoa Conference Hall at nights for their inauguration. Is there any truth to that inauguration of local government chairmen in Ondo State? And if there is some truth to it, who was in charge of that inauguration?
A lot of things are actually happening in Ondo State that when you hear people talk about it, you kind of shiver. Like, is this really happening in the state where I am from? Just like Mr. Ogundamisi said, a state that have produced people who fight for the upholding of the tenets of the constitution in other states. But now it's our turn, and the whole world is watching, and we are just doing the opposite of what we've been preaching. Earlier on Monday, I think, Monday or Tuesday, there was a list submitted to the State House of Assembly that they are to be the caretaker committee chairman and vice chairman of local governments and local council development areas across the state. Some persons alleged that the signature on the letter that accompanied the list is a little bit different from the known signature of the governor. Though yesterday, after the executive council meeting, they said they held yesterday, the information commissioner said people are just lying. The signature is the same signature as that of the governor. Nobody is forging anything. But let's move ahead. The PDP secured a court injunction, an ex parte order, that those persons so listed should not and must not be sworn in as local government caretaker committee in any local government or any local council development area in the state. The ex parte order is a document in the public domain. So we are supposed to have an inauguration of the so-called local government and LCDA chairman yesterday. All of a sudden, we did not hear anything again. But this morning, a friend that will belong to the same WhatsApp platform sent me a text that he is a younger friend that I want to congratulate some of our members who were part of the people that were sworn in as LCDA and local government chairman and vice chairman. And I asked him, have they been sworn in? Because as a practicing journalist in this state, I did not hear of anything of such. And I asked him, have they been sworn in? He said yes. He talked to one of them, and that one told him they were sworn in last night. That was the information I had as of this morning. So if it has gotten to the stage of LCDA and LGA chairman and vice chairman being sworn in late at night with no information in the public domain, that tells you there is something shady about the whole thing. So as far as the people of Ondo State is concerned, we don't have any public information that these people have been sworn in. But those sworn in said they have been sworn in. So if anybody is saying some persons have been sworn in late last night at the Cocoa Conference Hall, it means the person is true. But that information is not in public domain.
Mr. Ogundamisi,
and I don't know why such a thing will be happening.
Right, Mr. Ogundamisi, I see you reacting right there. There's something you want to get off your mind.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. You know, when I call some people conflictpreneurs. Conflictpreneurs is people who benefit financially or otherwise from conflict. So the only reason why you see this happening in Ondo State is because there are people benefiting from the absence and the incapacitation. We can only assume that Governor Akeredolu is incapacitated. There's no other choice from all. We've not seen him in public, at least since he came back from Germany. which is going to 3 months now. So it's not been seen in public. He's not uttered one word, at least since May. May till now is how many months? You know, he has not spoken to the people of Ondo State verbally, either by radio or television. When the Southwest governor did that charade to Ibadan, that they've gone to visit Akeredolu, they were too embarrassed that when journalists were asking them questions, they just went into their vehicle and moved on. There was no visual evidence to the members of the public. You just saw the 4 governors coming out, you know. So the fact of the matter is that there are people benefiting, and if they are benefiting, they will be forging signatures. They will be imposing people in offices, and that's what is simply happening in the state.
When do you think we are going to invoke the doctrine of necessity in this case involving Governor Akeredolu, just like we were forced to do at some point with former President Umar Yar'Adua?
It is only when the pressure gets to the point where first the APC as a ruling party, both nationally and locally, become embarrassed. Because unfortunately, it's only the state executive, the House of Assembly members, or members of the cabinet that can act. Unfortunately, quite majority of them are the ones benefiting from the absence of Akeredolu. So if you're benefiting from the absence of Akeredolu, you want the status quo to remain. And in the case of Abuja, the current president of the country and Akeredolu's relationship, they are putting their friendship over the interests of Nigeria and the constitution of this country. And I dare to also say that President Tinubu is also trying to set up a precedent, because if it happens to him, then it is unlikely he's going to hand over power to Shettima, the vice president of the country, if I get his name.
Kashim Shettima.
Yeah, Kasim Shettima. So he cannot tell Akeredolu to do the right thing. If, God forbid, you know, before they start saying I'm saying the president should fall ill, but if he falls ill and he does the right thing in the case of Akeredolu, he will be forced to do the right thing when it comes to his turn. So people are putting their own personal interest over and above the interests of the country. The constitution should be, the doctrine of necessity should be done right, should have been done like yesterday.
Right.
But it's not too late, and that's why we should continue to have this pressure, this conversation, so that the issue does not drop into the backdrop of
Mr. Yusuf, just before we let you go, what do people of Ondo say about this current situation? Where, in your interactions with them, if you can talk to us about that in just a minute, what are you hearing from the people?
Just like Mr. Ogunamisi has said, there will be people saying, let the right thing be done. And people benefiting from the system will also want this injustice to be perpetuated. So we have a faction of the residents of Ondo State that believe the rule of law should be upheld. There is a need for power to be transmitted to the deputy governor to become the acting governor, to provide leadership for the people of the state. Because as it is, the state is orphaned when it comes to leadership. But those that are benefiting, and some sets that are not yet benefiting but believe we will benefit in time, we are loyal party members. They'll be the ones saying, let it continue as it's happening. So we have the two factions going toe-to-toe, head-to-head in the state.
All right. Well, I mean, it's a very troubling situation, but I and many other Nigerians in the end will hope that the right thing will happen. Mr. Akeredolu Gundamisi is a commentator on Nigeria, global affairs, culture, and social issues, joining us this evening to discuss the developments in Ondo State. And Mr. Rahman Yusuf is a multimedia journalist joining us from Ondo State. To gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and your insights this evening. We appreciate it. And that is the big story here on Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos. But I want to hear from you. You've heard from, Akeredolu Gundamisi, who is he's an indigene of Ondo State. You've heard from a journalist who is based in the States. Their thoughts on the development there concerning the governor, Rotimi Akeredolu, who has been absent from the public eye for about a year now. It's quite disheartening, that he's in this state, but also you think of the lives of millions of Nigerians that don't seem to have any direction because there is no governor to pilot the affairs of the state. And even the deputy governor of the state is embroiled in a battle to keep his job, right? And so we'll talk about all of this at the round table here on Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos. My name is Chika Ago. Good evening.
Please, officer, now I know to make money today. I beg now. Hey!
Laolu! Today is the day you are going to pay for all your sins.
Something exciting out of the stables of Sanitary Pad Media Campaign.
Not me. I know well, wallahi. Since yesterday, my stomach, I dey pain now. I no sleep.
Yeah. A radio drama soap, My Period, My Pride.
This woman, come on for road. You know they look your back. Come on for road, this woman, huh? Come on for road.
My Period, My Pride, an advocacy tool for the provision of free sanitary pads for schoolgirls in Nigeria, powered by Sanitary Pad Media Campaign with support from MacArthur Foundation and Radio Now 95.3 FM.
My Period, My Pride, Season 1, The Story of Afi.
Every Saturday at 10 a.m.
Go to Financial Services Regulation and Coordinating Committee FSRCC tinyere National Broadcasting Commission NBC johere ado ho obodo aka na ntị banyere ndị na-atụ mgbere ego iwu akwadoghị bụ Illegal Financial Operators IFO nke na-eme ka ndị mmadụ ghara inwekwa ntụkwasị obi ọzọ tinyere na ngalaba na-ahụ maka ego na Nigeria enweghị nkwudosi ike ha jizi ohere agba ndị ọha obodo ka ha kwụsị ịtụnyere ndị na-atụ mgbere ego enweghị akwụkwọ ikike inwekwara ike ime nchọpụta banyere akwụkwọ ikike ụlọ ọrụ dị otu a site n'akara webụsaịtị ndị a www.cbn.gov.ng, www.nicom.gov.ng, www.pencom.gov.ng, www.sec.gov.ng. maka inye mkpesa banyere gburugburu ego n'ụdị ọbụla kpọọ 07002255226 08002255226 maọbụ +234-817-665-6273. ozi a si n'aka FSRCC.
We are intentional about the stories we tell and the language we use in telling them.
Intentional about the people we speak to and why we speak to them.
Because here at Radio Now 95.3 FM, we aren't just telling any story.
We are telling your story.
And your story is all that matters.
The issues are all around us, but who talks about them? Law enforcement breaking the law, property owners ripping off tenants, political office holders taking the electorate for granted, or is it the plague of recurring bad policies made by the government? These are the issues. Let's talk about these and more at the round table. Stay locked on to Radio Now 95.3 FM every weekday as we discuss these hot topics around us on The Round Table on Now Express. The Round Table, weekdays, 5:30 p.m.
Good evening and welcome to the round table. My name is Chika Ago. 5:35 p.m. on the clock, and good evening. Let's get started with our conversation on the round table, which is on the fate of the people of Ondo under Governor Gov Akeredolu, who we've not seen in the public since May, who has been battling one illness or the other for about a year now. And then you think of the fact that, there was an impeachment proceeding against the deputy governor of the House, the deputy governor of the state, rather, and it's problematic, having to deal with all of that. But look, the update, and this came out yesterday. The Ondo State House of Assembly and Speaker Olamide Oladiji withdrew their appeal challenging the decision of the Federal High Court stopping the moves to remove the state deputy governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. So they withdrew their appeal And this was right after they had met with President Bola Tinubu. But what is even more troubling is that President Bola Tinubu met with the government of the states, and we still are not hearing a firm let the governor resign. I want to get your thoughts on everything happening in Ondo State as regards the governor. We've had this conversation before, and since we had this conversation and now, not much has happened. There's not been any significant development in terms of what is the current state of health of the governor, or what is the way forward for the people of the state if the deputy governor would go on to become the governor and have his own deputy, if Governor Akeredolu will resign. There's not been any significant progress as regards what happens in that direction, and it's confusing. 0913 5000 953 and 0901 1111 953. Do you expect President Bola Tinubu to tell the governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, to resign? Do you expect him to do that? Do you expect the APC to tell the governor of Ondo State to step down and let someone else who is healthy and can, lead the state do that while he goes and attends to his health? Because I think that at the end of the day, it's important that those two things happen, that he attends to his health and that the people of Ondo State have, a direction, have a leadership. 0913 5000 953 and 0901 1111 953. My live studio lines to dial this evening to join the conversation and talk to me about this, okay? Remember to please keep your submissions as brief as possible so that we can take calls, from others as well who want to weigh in on this subject matter. You can also leave me a text on WhatsApp 0809 682 2595. Kenny is calling in from Surulere. Hi, Kenny. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. How you doing now?
I'm okay, Kenny. How are you?
Fine. It's not Friday.
Mm-hmm. Please go on. Mm-hmm.
See, all this guy had on seats or in power that we're witnessing in Africa, I don't know where we learn all these things from. Can we not be a gentleman for once? Is it a dream, that position? Is it a dream between to you that you don't have to, you will not ever leave that place until naturally something happens? I don't really understand. Akeredolu is a lawyer. He is a fan for crying out loud. And when you see them quoting versions and sections and this from the Constitution, you'll be thinking that these people they know the right thing to do. When it concerns another person, see them quoting section and no section. When it concerns them, they will turn to tyrant. They will turn to one these things I don't really understand. What is so simple for you to leave that place? Go and take care of yourself. I believe this man has children and wife. They should just talk to him. He should relinquish that power and go and take care of himself. I believe he will get better if he removes his eye from that position. It is because of what is in that position. That is why they want to keep themselves there. We don't even need the president to come and tell Akeredolu to resign. Our judiciary, I don't know if they are complicit in all these things. They will bring an issue. You don't need to waste time. You understand me? That this issue require urgency. You treat it, you don't need to do. Immediately, look at what happened during the Naira notes. Immediately, they sharp. So this case now, the people of Ondo State, they are grounded. They are like orphans. They don't have no direction. And our judiciary is there. They may need to make pronouncement. They bring that make pronouncement. Let the natural cause take place. Deputy governor, be sworn in. You understand? The National Assembly, I don't know the way these people they have been pocketed. You can imagine a National Assembly, the State Assembly of Ondo State, they have been pocketed. You see them talking from two sides of the mouth. Because they say he that has water in his mouth cannot say what is clear. They will just be murmuring. Look at National Assembly. They are now a hype man of the president.
All right, Kenny.
National Assembly, our senators and House of Reps, they are now hype men for the president, which we should not be. You understand? They need to stand alone, stand on their own, and be independent.
All right, Kenny.
They need to do checks and balances for all these things. Look at now, they are colluding with the governor while they are destroying their states.
It's a shame.
No, now it shouldn't be.
Kenny, thank you very much. Let's leave it here. 0913 5000 953 and 0901 1111 953. My live studio lines to dial this evening to join the conversation here at the round table. What do you make of what's happening in Ondo states? Do you think the president should prevail on do you think the president should prevail on the governor of the states to resign? What do you make of the fact that the president hasn't actually said, hey, resign? Let's talk about all of this. Good evening, Nobi. How are you?
Hello, Chika. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
EGF, Chika. You hope you're fine.
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. Chika, for me, I don't think that Akeredolu I know is well. Just like what happened with Yaradua. When you are incapacitated, just ordinary malaria, Chika, if you have been sick of malaria, you will even remember your children and whatever you have. You will not be interested in anything. You can't even eat food. You see, this psychophancy in Nigerian politics has gone way too far. I can bet you this man is not the one deciding what is happening. I blame the wife, who is my sister, and the children. Because if people don't know, they can make themselves great when they come out to speak the truth and say the children and the family can say my husband is no longer, and people will respect them forever. Anyway, moreover, Chika, this is the first time I'm enjoying. I want to tell my in-law to stay put. This is the first time I'm enjoying such a thing. Let him remain in power. He should not leave until the time is over. Chika, don't you think so? At least Imo State is benefiting a bit there today, this time around. Thank you very much.
I don't know how Imo State is benefiting. That's just one person, one woman. That's one family benefiting.
The woman is strong. She can decide. And do you know when I'm crossing on those states, nobody talks to me anyhow. So check up, leave all those states, please. Thank you very much.
Obi, thank you very much. 0913 5000 953 and 0901 1111 953. Talk to me about the situation in Ondo State. How are you reflecting on the situation there? Are you sort of surprised that the APC hasn't said, okay, Mr. Governor, resign? Right? Are you surprised that the president hasn't said, hey, Mr. Governor, I think you should resign? Emmanuel from Unicon is on. Hi, Emmanuel.
I'm good, Tika. Tika, this case is very straightforward. The man should resign. A lot of I've spoken to a lot of players, including Aida Tiwa himself. I believe the man should resign. There are a lot of things that I cannot say on radio that are happening. Let's leave it at that. Thank you.
Manuel, thank you very much. He says he thinks the man should resign, and I think that it is everyone thinks that yes, he should resign, right? Well, not everyone, because clearly he's still there, but most people think that he should resign. But the question is, why isn't the political class, especially from his own party, right? For a party called the APC, for a party that say that they are progressives, right? For a party that produced a military dictator and sold him to Nigerians as a reformed Democrat, right? So you expect that they understand democracy, they understand how a democratic system should work, and they hold themselves to the standards of a democratic society. You would expect that, by now there should be calls for his resignation, but sadly we haven't seen that. Why? Paul is calling in from Egbeda. Hi, Paul. Good evening.
Yeah, Chika, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. It's quite unfortunate that the man is sick, and for me, I personally wish him the quickest recovery ever,
Nobody prays to be sick, but sometimes it does happen. You just need to pray for him to recover. Now, when it comes to the governance of Ondo State, I think if his health cannot permit him to do what he ought to do, governance should not struggle or should not die in Ondo State. He should resign, honorably resign, and it will earn him more goodwill than to remain there. And of which I want to submit and agree with those who have called forth that the gentleman might not be the one, orchestrating what is going on right now in Ondo State. But this is a lawyer and a very kind gentleman. I don't think he will get himself involved in that. But those who are doing that should know that posterity will not have a good story for them. They should just allow that man to recover. Then for now, let him just quit and have himself taken care of by his family. That's my submission. Good evening.
Good evening, Paul from Ebeda. Thank you very much. 0913-5000-953 and 0901-1111-953. But you see, Paul, your statement, your submission has me even more confused. If you say that Governor Akeredolu is not the one, writing all of these things or saying all of these things, then who is? Right? If he's incapacitated, enough to do any meaningful work, is he incapacitated enough to write a resignation letter? I mean, there's somebody clearly there should be somebody who is in, who's authorized to make a decision on his behalf, especially when he enters a state like this, right? It's a common thing, right? It's a common thing. Even in education, sometimes you're applying to certain schools and they say, who do you authorize to make decisions for you when you're incapacitated by health, right? So how much more a governor? Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing, Iti?
I'm fine. And you? Happy New Month.
Happy New Month, my brother. Please go on.
I wish you the same. Yeah. Please, people should not say Akeredolu as a senior advocate of Nigeria who knows the constitution to the fullest. It's not what he's doing. Nobody will push you to go against the dictates of your conscience. If truly is a conscious man, is a man of integrity. What is the big deal there? Is he not going to answer the former governor or yes, the ex-governor? Is the deputy governor not from is not an indigenous of Ondo State? Just like what is happening in the nearby state, Edo State. So politicians across party that they don't have integrity, they don't have the interest for the people. What they have appropriated to themselves is personal interest. And some, during the week, T.Y. Danjuma was castigating the former minister of petroleum, over some allegation, financial allegation. Say, yes, because of the actions and inactions of Alex Madekwe, he has lost trust on women. So the wife also has to, from the information we had when the president called them to mediate, to broker peace between the three factions, the governor camp, the House of Assembly camp, and the deputy governor's camp. So the wife of the governor and his son, who is a very highly political appointee of that government, of Akeredolu government, is your son. It has become a family affairs. The president denied them access to that meeting. So even the woman, his wife, went down to Imo State to contest the senatorial district. These are past of women they can be. So the House of Assembly members, they should do the needful. If the governor is incapacitated to carry out the functions, because the statutory functions that is enshrined in the Constitution for a governor, he should say that there's no big deal there. How many months to the end of his tenure? Because of the juicy benefit, they don't want to miss that. The free coupage, free money, they should not worry. There is a judgment after year on earth. Nobody You can only kill a man, but you can't kill God that will judge both man and the person that you kill. Nigerians are watching the people of. There's no opposition. When we talk of opposition, the politicians across parties that are even in the opposition, what is in their mind is how to grab power so that they will have free access to the cookie jar and appropriated some amount of money, whopping amount of money to themselves to enjoy for themselves and their generation get on board. There's no opposition. When we talk of opposition, they want to grab power so that they also have access to do what they want to do. That is what politicians across party, like whether they're ruling or in the opposition party. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Etim. We appreciate your contributions this evening. I kind of find it funny in that statement made by Tiwai Danjuma that Etim referred to, when he said that he almost lost faith in women over ex-petroleum minister's unbeaten corruption record. I find that very disingenuous, because men have been looting this country dry. In fact, one man, even in his death, continues to give us credit alerts every other quarter, like they say. I don't hear him say I lost faith in men. It's quite funny. Let's talk to Kenny. He's back up. Hi, Kenny.
This is Emmanuel.
Oh, Emmanuel. All right. Apologize, Emmanuel.
Yes. The last caller actually gave a little expose to what is actually going on on those states. I spoke to somebody that is very, very close to the deputy governor. I was privy to understand that the house that is supposed to stay in, the deputy governor is supposed to stay in. Are you aware that Akeredolu's son occupies that house right now?
I don't know.
Hello.
I can't. I don't know. I can't confirm that. I can't verify. I can't confirm that at the moment. But go on.
And that's why I said go and verify. I really do believe. So
Okay.
the truth of the matter is that what they are enjoying now, they don't want to stop enjoying it. You can be rest assured that Akeredolu is not doing all that is happening, because he's already incapacitated. And if for how long now, not been able to take charge of the affairs of the state, then who is actually in charge?
All right.
It's a messy situation, and it's an African thing, or should I even call it a Nigerian thing? But I think it's something that we can do without. But then again, I hold the people of the state responsible, because they have failed to hold their leaders accountable. I pray that sooner than later they get out of it.
All right. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Kenny. Good evening.
Yeah, Chika. Yeah, good evening. My brother, see, we need the proper reform in this country. And our laws I don't know the way they do it. When they close here, they open here. So many loopholes and lacuna. Our laws are not explicit per se. You understand me? Because it's so explicit. You don't have somebody that will come and argue something that is white. Now the argument is off-white. It's white, black. Now, you know. See, my brother, when somebody is elected in Nigeria, somebody is elected. You have elected all that person's generation. They will come into that space. The children are dictating, the wife are dictating, the in-laws are dictating. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. That is what our law should tell. All these first lady and second lady and last lady, first son and second son. You don't need all those things. You don't need all those things. Our laws are not explicit in that. That is why we're having this issue now. You understand? I also link it. I don't know if I'm to say that is Nigeria thing, because all these politicians from APC to PDP to all of them, there's no difference between them, just like 6.5 dozen. You understand me? You could remember the other time, Tinubu's son came to fake meeting. For what? He took Air Force One to go and watch Gov. For what? That is not, those are the things that they are not supposed to. My brother, our kids, they shame me. You understand me? Because we have become a thing of mockery in international war. You understand me? The way we do our things, that's why they don't regard us. They don't regard us at all. You understand? We've not taken a stand. President don't need to go and talk to Akeredolu to resign. The law needs to take its course. We don't need to beg him. We don't need. I listened to one of the spokesperson for Akeredolu on TV the other day. He was saying that Akeredolu can work from anywhere. He's signing all the files. He's signing this. They are taking it to him. The Ondo State is very okay. Look at this man. Hey, in 20 years' time, they will play this thing for you. And you listen to yourself what you are saying. That he can operate from anywhere. He can sign all files from anywhere. That one should not bother that Ondo State is moving, is selling. No, now. The deputy governor is not from PDP, neither is he from Labour Party or SDP. You see the same. So what is wrong with him? This man has changed deputy governors almost twice now. So what are the issues there? What is it that they know that we don't know? They should tell us. And the state assembly, I don't know. These people, they are just boy. They are just like one boy. You know what they call boy? The boy, I don't understand. I don't understand because when you are sound enough, you know good from bad. You know when to draw the line. You know when I look at them talking on TV stations, when they call them for interview, you see them they just and say, that is someone's father now. You can't be saying all these things. Your children are coming up. You cannot be talking like this now.
Kenny, let's leave it here. Thank you very much for your contribution this evening. I mean, clearly this is one that a lot of Nigerians are very passionate about, and I mean, we'll continue to, engage with this matter like, our guest, Kaide Gudamisi, said earlier. We'll continue to engage with this matter, put pressure on the political class until the right thing is done, right? And we hope that it happens, sooner rather than later. But hey, just before we go, I want to say thank you on behalf of, everyone who works on on Now Express. On behalf of everyone who works here on Now Express, the producer, me, the team, we want to say thank you very much for sticking with us for the past 3 years. If you missed it, Radio Now is 3 today. I'm dressed in our colors, blue and yellow. I've got the yellow filler on. It's absolutely fire. I've got this blue kaftan on. I starched this one. Like, I've been starching it every weekend. I just starch upon start. So the thing stand for my body. Like this now everywhere. Everywhere is solid. I be like carton. But yeah, we're excited that we can share the beauty of the work that we do with you, and we're excited and happy and grateful that you've opened up your homes, your cars, your private spaces to us in the past 3 years, and we hope that you will continue to open up these spaces to us for many years to come. So from all of us here on the Now Express team, the entire Radio Now staff and management, thank you very much for sticking with us for 3 years, and we look forward to spending many more years with you. The news summary is up next at 6 p.m. My name is Chika Ago. Have a good night, Lagos.
Across Nigeria, Africa, and the world, this is